fellow movie crusaders, welcome to another episode of Sean's Movie Crusades, as today we are going to be reviewing The Dead Don't Die. Now this movie, I would say it's wide release, but I would say it's kind of more of an indie. There's probably a lot of people who don't know what this movie is or have seen this movie, but if, basically it is a, kind of like a zombie comedy kind of film. The cast in this film is fantastic. It's probably one of the best overall casts I've ever seen for a zombie film. You got Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Tom Waits, Chloe Sevigny, I never say her name right, Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover, just to name a few, RZA. All these people in the film. Great overall cast for this film, and it gives off a kind of unique, kind of dry humor approach. At least that's how the trailer made it intend, which is right up Bill Murray's track, because Bill Murray is the best at going from dry humor to just sarcastic humor. I mean, Bill Murray, easily one of the best comedians of all time, and one of my favorite comedians of all time. So when I got to see him do something like he did back in Zombieland, when he had a special appearance in Zombieland, I was super excited for this film, and I couldn't wait to see it. And so let's go ahead and go into the review and see what I thought of it. The general plot of The Dead Don't Die is basically because of, fracking going on in the world. It has caused the Earth to turn on its axis, and because of that, a lot of strange occurrences are happening, such as, like, it's daylight till 10 p.m. at night, and the pets are acting weird, and the birds are acting weird, and strange weather, and stuff like that. But then once night actually hits, the moon, because of the way it's on the axis, it's causing the dead to rise. And then, of course, we have zombie attacks and stuff like that. And so this is a very, very small town. I believe it's called Clearville. And it's like population of like 736. And so it's a very, very small town. And it's basically them having to deal with this zombie apocalypse and how they handle it. With Bill Murray, Adam Driver, and Chloe Sevigny. I guess I'm probably totally saying that last name wrong. They're the law enforcement in this small town. You also got Tilda Swinton. She is kind of the eccentric, weird mortician, and then you got the townspeople. But yeah, that's basically the plot. Earth gets turned off on its axis, weird stuff happens, zombies rise, and a small town house has to deal with it. So that's the general plot. Now, what works for The Dead Don't Die is, first off, Bill Murray. Bill Murray's fantastic in this film. I mean, he does a great kind of like a cop who's well past his retirement date. I believe they even say in the movie that he was supposed to retire 2 years prior, but he just couldn't do it. And he's just kind of in that, like, I just don't give a crap anymore mood. Like, I'm going to do my job, but I'm not going to go out of my way to do stuff, because he's just at that age where he just doesn't care anymore. But then once things start happening, he's trying to be the strength to keep everyone together. And then you start to see the cracks happening. And that's some of the best parts of Bill Murray, is when he goes away from his calm demeanor and actually kind of loses it at certain points. Bill Murray's great at that, and he's a highlight. Adam Driver is also fantastic in this film. He basically plays the movie completely dry, never ever raises his emotions from a base level, which gives him great dry humor, and it's beautiful back and forth between him and Bill Murray. And some of the lines between the two and their exchanges is hilarious. Tilda Swinton is real fun as well. She's kind of playing this very, very weird Scottish mortician who has samurai capabilities. She's got katanas and stuff like that. Chloe Sevigny, she plays like basically the other officer, and she's kind of just like the one person in the town who doesn't play it dry. She's the one that seems to kind of act the most normal out of everybody in the town, or at least the one that's the most reactive to what's going on. And then, of course, you got Danny Glover in the film. You also got Selena Gomez. She and two guys are kind of the out-of-town people who drove through town at night and are stuck in the middle of all this. And then, of course, you got RZA. He's like the UPS driver. All of them are decent in their roles. Adam Driver, Bill Murray, and Tilda Swinton definitely being the standouts for performances-wise. And it's also got a very unique humor to it. Like, the zombies are not your typical kind of zombies. Like, yes, they're slow and they eat people, but they also retract to the things that they were like before they died. So children, zombies, want to go to the toy store and play with toys. Teenagers, they want to be on their cell phones. Older zombies, they want coffee or, you know, stuff like that. So I mean, it's a weird approach to the zombies, but it's a unique and different approach compared to what we're normally used to seeing. That and killing the brain isn't what kills them. It's chopping off their head, but they don't bleed. They kind of shoot off like this black dust when they're killed, which is a different and unique approach that we've seen from many zombie movies. I mean, there is blood and gore in the film, but it's not coming necessarily from the zombies. It's coming from them killing people. So every time a zombie dies, it's just kind of a puff of black smoke or dust instead of it just being, you know, shooting blood all over the place. But that's basically what works for the Dead Don't Die. What doesn't work is a lot of things. I mean, the dry humor, it's good to start, but once the zombie attacks start happening, it's borderline annoying. It's like the entire town is stoned off their asses or just on Xanax. They have, outside of Chloe Sevigny, no one, and the occasional times for Bill Murray, no one emotionally reacts to anything in this film. It's incredibly dry, which, like I said, at the beginning, it was fine and it was funny, but once the movie really starts getting into, you know, the zombie apocalypse and them having to react, their dry approach and reactions and emotions and everything really starts to become a hindrance and overall an annoyance in the overall film, to the point where it's just, you want something emotional to happen with these characters, and it just doesn't happen. There's some fourth wall breaking, which was a funny joke, but it also kind of took me out of the film as well. So it's kind of a good and a bad. Certain character, the main problem is while it does have a great cast, there are way too many cast members, and the director doesn't really give a crap about the characters. He focuses on basically like 3 or 4 main ones. And then, like, because the first 30 minutes is a very slow build because it's introducing us to all these characters. So we're seeing story arcs start to be developed for these characters that we are going to hopefully, you know, be seeing stuff unravel for them, and then nothing happens with them. You know, there's Selena Gomez's character. You know, you watch her character, like, oh, okay, she's going to be this kind of character in the film, so we know where she's going to go, and then her story just gets completely dropped. There's these 3 teenage kids who Maya Delmont, Talia Whitaker, and Jai Diallo Winston, who play Stella, Olivia, and Geronimo. They're juvenile kids in a detention center, and we constantly go back to them and check what's going on with them and how they're reacting to things. And then their characters just kind of, we don't get an end point to their characters. They run and hide from the zombie apocalypse, but we never see whatever happens to them. So they just run away on screen, but we never see if they make it or if they die or nothing. They're just completely forgotten about. And that's what a lot of it is with most of the characters. Some of them, you think they're going to get built up to something bigger. They're not. They're killed away rather quickly. Something I'm not going to say because of spoilers, but there's this one part at the very, very end that comes so far out of right field, storyline-wise. No build up to it, nothing happening in the film that comes to this point. It just straight up happens, and you'd have to be on board with it or not, and I personally was not on board with it, to the point where I was just like, what the hell is going on right now? Kind of a film. And then it just kind of ends. The movie just kind of ends. Like, you get to this one point, and you're like, is that how they're really going to end this film? And that's how they ended it. So ultimately, there was a lot of build-up, and you were kind of, like, excited, because, like, oh, all right, cool, I like the dry humor, I can't wait for shit to get crazy, for this dry humor to go insane, and then it never reaches past this point. And after an hour and a half, you're just like, wow, I feel like I just wasted my time. Like, I love these actors. I wanted to see a great film, but they just never get out of first gear, and that was the director's decision, I'm pretty sure. And to me, it hinders the film, and it just never breaks through to the next gear or the next point with the characters, and so it ultimately just kind of feels empty and dull and a lot like the town that the people live in. It's just like, if the director's not going to make me give a crap about these characters, why should I give a crap about these characters? Like, they just start dropping by flies, and you're sad that they die because you like those actors, not because you like those characters. It's just because you like the actors that are playing them, and it's like, that's not the right way to do that. When a character dies, you want to feel sad for the character because you like that character, not because you like the actor that plays that character, but you can give a rat's ass about the character overall. And that's the problem with The Dead Don't Die, is that it's just ultimately just flat for a zombie film. It's really flat, and overall it's just kind of a disappointment for me. It was a movie I was really, really excited for, but overall just disappointed me greatly. It'll probably end up in my most disappointed films of 2019. So yeah, overall, I can't recommend this film to anyone. Even people who, if people who like that kind of humor, maybe you guys might get a kick out of it. I thought I was going to get a kick out of it, but by the time the end of the film, I was just like, wow, I feel like I just wasted time. And it made me really, really sad that I made it through that film with as much emotion that the actual characters gave me in the film. So I can't recommend the movie. Clearly, this doesn't get into my top 10 of 2019 so far. So going to the top 10 of 2019 so far, it's going to be the same list as it was last review, with Avengers Endgame still at that number 1 spot, followed by Rocketman, then Booksmart, then at number 4 goes to Us, 5 going to John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, number 6 going to Long Shot, 7 going to Brightburn, 8 going to Disney's Aladdin, 9 Shazam, 10 Godzilla King of the Monsters, with Pokemon Detective Pikachu just outside of the top 10. I hope you guys liked this review. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys feel like this review was worth sharing, go ahead and hit that share button. But most importantly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to the channel, so that way you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos that pop up on the channel. We got 2 more reviews coming up here shortly. We got Child's Play, the new Child's Play 2009 Chucky film, and then, of course, Toy Story 4. So be on the lookout for that on the YouTube channel. And also don't forget to follow us at all the social media outlets you see below. And until next time, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.